Hi, this is Xavier,
Alexis.
and today we are going to teach you about punctuation, specifically period, question mark, and exclamation mark, and also how to use them in a sentence and how to find them.
Okay, so let's start. What is a period? A period is always at the end of a sentence. For example, you look good today. It is also used at the end of a command. For example, eat your soup. And they are also used to compress words. Example, Mrs. Jackson is no longer Mrs. It's just MRS period Jackson. You can also use them after an initial to indicate that it actually is an initial. For example, Samuel L. Jackson. As you can see, there's a period after the L because it's not actually just L, it's an initial. And you can also use it in any types of outlines to show that what is said is separated. For example, 123 is not the number 123, it's a space for text.
Now, what are question marks? So, it's an interrogation point that indicates that the sentence has an interrogative clause. So, you will almost likely see this after a question has been asked. For example, can you help me with my homework? Now, here, this is a sentence that is a question, so you will always put a question mark after it. Secondly, when it is in quotations, make sure it is inside the quotation marks. For example, how come some stories have an ending when they never had a starting? So now you see here, this is a question inside quotations. That's why you put the question marks inside the quotation. Now, thirdly, when it is a question about the quotation, use outside the quotation. For example, what is your thought on John Lennon's quote? Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Now, here, it's because the question is not inside the quotation. The question is about the quotation. That's why the question mark is not inside the quotation, it is outside. Because the question is asked here. What is your thought on John Lennon's quote? Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. That's not a question. That's why you put period, then the quotation, then after question.
Okay, so now the exclamation point. The exclamation point is a punctuation mark used usually after an exclamation to show high volume. For example, I hate you. It gives you an option to add a tone and a certain priority by adding an exclamation mark. For example, this game sucks. This game sucks. If you read if you read back both examples in your head, I'm sure they don't sound the same at all. Okay, so now let's move on to a quiz about periods, quotation marks, and exclamation marks. I have brought a little guest, and his name is Sam. Say hi, Sam.
Hey, hey, hi. Oh, thank you. Hi. Oh, no need to applause. Hi. Yes,
All
thank you.
right, all right, all right, all right. Stop, stop, stop,
Calm
stop,
down,
stop,
people.
stop, stop.
Calm down. It's thank you.
Okay, let's get started. Okay, so which of these examples has the right usage of the question mark? Is it the first one? Was it Abraham Lincoln who said, open quotation, in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's a life in your years, question mark, close quotation? Or is it number two? Was it Abraham Lincoln who said, open quotation, in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's a life in your years, close quotation, and then the question mark?
The right usage of the question mark is number two.
Yes, Sam, you're right. It is number two because the quote is not a question. It's a question about the quote. So that's why the question mark is after the quotation.
Now, moving on to the next question. Which of these examples has the right usage of the period? Is it number one, what if I like going out? Can I go out? Or is it number two, I want to go out because I like it?
I personally I think it's number two, but I don't know if that's right.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, Mark.
Well, you got it right. And
Oh,
the reason
yay.
why is because first sentence, it says, what if I like going out? Can I go out? The end of the sentence here, it's a question. So this sentence should have a question mark. And this here, I want to go out because I like it. It's the statement, not an exclamation or not a question. So it ends with a period.
Final question. Which of these examples has the right usage of the exclamation mark? Is it number one, will you eat your food, Brian? Or number two, this hurts so bad?
I don't think it's number one because that is a question, so you would need a question mark. I think it is number two. This hurts so bad.
You're absolutely right, Sam. You explained it all. And it's number two because, as you said, you would need a question mark. And will you eat your food, Brian? Because it is a question.
Well, it's the end. Now, thank you for listening, and we hope that you learned a lot about question marks, exclamation marks, and periods, and how to differ one from another and how to use it in a sentence.